Rob and Chris, you guys agree on 4 of the 5 nominees for Best Drama Actress. You say Juliana Margulies, Glenn Close, Kyra Sedgwick, January Jones. But then you both go off on left turns. Boomer, you're picking Anna Paquin and Mariska Hargitay. And Rob, you've got Anna Gunn. Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. And Sally Field. But let's first talk overview here. This is the category where we're going to see a little bit of changing of the guard, where that's not so true of the other categories this year, right?
That's right. Let's hope so, Tom. You've got a whole bunch of older actresses who are, either Oscar winners or movie stars who just get nominated no matter what they do. And then you have all these other actresses who belong in supporting who have moved over to lead for some reason that escapes me. And so it's going to be really interesting. So I'm hoping that some of those people like Holly Hunter and maybe Mariska Hargitay might give it a miss, and we might see something new in this category finally. That'd be fantastic. We already know Juliana Margulies is going to make it in, and she's new. She's won everything under the sun, and rightly so. But
January Jones is moving up, so she will probably be nominated for the first time.
Let's hope so. She's been snubbed for a couple of years, unfortunately, and Elizabeth Moss has moved down to kind of make some room for her. So maybe that might work and pay off. And then you've got Sally Field in there. She, unfortunately, will probably be nominated again, I think. They just can't seem to get away from her. It's really quite disheartening. And Glenn Close as well.
The neat thing for me about this category is even though you have a lot of those film stars, there's really only 2 people that you could say are locks here, Glenn Close and Juliana Margulies. I mean, the closer with Kyra Sedgwick, she's been nominated every year, but that show's getting a lot older. Mariska Hargitay, who I've in my predictions, the only reason I have her in there is they always give her that one real Emmy bait kind of an episode, so I just left her in there. People seem to like her. I hope she doesn't make it again. January Jones has tried twice and couldn't get in, so she's certainly not a lock. Sally Field wasn't even nominated at the Screen Actors Guild this year, and they love her. That's why I took her off of my list.
Good point.
Elizabeth Moss, as you mentioned, moved to supporting, so that does open up another slot. Melissa Leo is an interesting candidate here. The other ladies on her show are in supporting, so if somebody gets nominated from Treme, it could only be her, and she just had an Oscar nomination last year, so she'll certainly be a name that pops out on the ballot when people look at the ballots.
Katie Segal could be in there too, right? Katie Segal
Katie
supporting
Segal's
to
got
this
a decent shot.
That'd be great to see that.
Rob, let's pick on you for a second. Why do you have Anna Gunn here from Breaking Bad?
Well, if she was still in supporting, I would say she would be the front runner to win that category, right? She's moved up to lead probably to give Betsy Brandt, the other actress from that show, a chance. And she's moved up because in the first half of Breaking Bad's 3rd season, she had a very prominent role, and in fact, in one of the episodes entitled IFT, she is so brilliant that I would just be handing her the award immediately. She's that good. And I know for a fact she's being pushed and pushed and pushed in this category. And I think she's going to be that surprise. I think Breaking Bad is just going to get bigger and bigger every year until it finally peters off like so many other shows have done. This year it's going to get some more nominations, and I think this is going to be one of them. And I think people will be really surprised.
I would be if it happens, and I would also be very surprised if Chris turns out to be correct that Anna Paquin is nominated. She was not nominated last year. This, of course, is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer problem. It's a vampire show, fantasy, so therefore the Oscar Emmy voters just kind of write it off. But, of course, it's a hot show. It's HBO. And Chris, explain further. Why does she get in this year when she didn't get in last year?
Oh, you got me. I don't know.
You've got her on your list.
I know it. She's had Globe and SAG nominations, so I know she's at least on the radar. This category is really hard to figure out once you get past those 2 I mentioned. There you've got another Oscar winner, though, and she does a lot of work. I mean, she does TV movies. She still does supporting movies, supporting roles in films. The only reason I put her in there, and I mean, honestly, I've got her into 6 slots, so it's not like I got a lot of confidence in her. But I wonder about what you said on a previous conversation about Dexter airing so long ago. How will that maybe impact their winning? I think maybe with True Blood coming back and getting all the ton of publicity it got here in the late spring, right as people had their ballots, might help her get on the ballot this time.
That's true.
Although I have to say, though, in retort to that, she didn't get nominated last year. We all thought that was probably her best shot, and she didn't. She didn't even get nominated for that Irina Sendler movie in the miniseries category, so that's telling. It means she doesn't have the support. And you know what? I personally, no disrespect to Anna Paquin, really, but I don't think she's really the best actor on that show. In fact, she's one of the weak links as far as I'm concerned, and I really can't see her even being close.
Interesting. Jean Triplehorn could make it in here for Big Love, of course. We haven't talked about Connie Britton. She could certainly get in for Friday Night Lights, Overdue, and Katie Sagal for Sons of Anarchy. If Sons of Anarchy gets any major nomination, it seems to be that there's so much love for her, and it is the highest rated show in the history of FX. They are aggressively campaigning that show, and she could get in. But the problem is, going back to what we started to talk about here, is that there's so many big-name marquee women here, from Glenn Close to Kyra Sedgwick to Mariska Hargitay to Sally Field, some of these automatic nominees, that it's hard to figure out who gets bumped out to allow in the newcomers like January Jones.
That's right.
It might be the overall deepest category of all of the categories for acting. I mean, I looked at on my webpage, I put down the 18 in every category that in order, and you could make a case for all 18 ladies that I've got, because you've got some ladies that are well known, like a Jada Pinkett Smith on Hawthorne, that carry their entire show, basically. So does that get any respect from the Emmy voter? We don't know yet, because it's a first-year show.
That's right.
A lady like Mary McCormick on In Plain Sight. There are some people that are passionate fans of her on that show. This category is extremely deep. Most anybody that they nominate probably deserves it, other than a couple of these that have been in there every year, like we talked about with Sally Field and Holly Hunter, that just get their names checked off. The one thing about Katie Sagal, I love the fact that we have the chance that Katie Sagal and Ed O'Neill from Married with Children could both be nominated this year.
Great.
And one in drama and one in comedy. If they do, even if they don't, those Emmy producers better pair those two up to come present an award that night, because that is so much fun to me. I think that there's even the chance of that.
Right. And we need to explain, because we know this. Excuse me one second, Rob, but we have to explain to our viewers of this, is that neither one of them were nominated for Married with Children, and Married with Children never won an Emmy. So it would be great catch-up love at this point.
Well, they've been just working on TV for 30 years, so I just think that would be so much fun if they get to go to the Emmy Awards their first time together.
Yeah, maybe we might see Christina Applegate up there as well. I'm not sure about David Faustino, though. I think he might not be in the running this year, so we're not going to get.
I think he's parking cars this year.
And then, Rob, there's your friend Lauren Graham from Parenthood. You were rooting for her, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I love Lauren Graham. She's fantastic. She probably doesn't belong in lead, but look, everyone's in lead this year, and if she was in supporting, she'd have a better shot yet again. But, all the Gilmore Girls snubs, I don't think Emmy voters care about that anyway, and I don't think their Parenthood's on the radar yet.
Right.
She's good on that show, but boy,
she's great.
She belongs in supporting,
She does.
Sorry, Lauren.
Who's going to win this, Rob?
Juliana's going to win this, I think. Depending on the episodes, and, if maybe in my fantasy world, if Breaking Bad just wins everything, Anna Gunn might be up there, but I think it's going to be Juliana. Glenn Close might win again, just because Emmy voters just like to tick the names off without thinking. They get a bit lazy. But Juliana, and maybe January Jones has a shot, but I think Juliana's got this.
You agree, Chris?
I do. Glenn Close, I watched the whole season of Damages, and to be the star of that show, she never really had a whole episode devoted to her, and she didn't have the material this year. The episodes were pretty good, and the whole cast, the whole ensemble was good, but she does not have the material to submit this year like she has, I think, in the past. So if ever there was a year where somebody like Juliana could come along and probably submit the pilot episode where her character's introduced, I think she could probably pretty easily win this category. I would think. January Jones, you mentioned, she's got a shot, and I think I know which episode she'll submit, the one where she and Don Draper, her husband, John Hamm, really have it out over all of his past. but it was a self-contained section of that episode, so the voter's going to have to sit through an entire episode where she's not in it maybe more than 15, 20 minutes. And I wonder if that's going to play as well as somebody like Juliana, who's going to be in the entire episode.
Yeah.
And Juliana, we should explain, just won SAG. She just won the Golden Globe. She's on a romp. She's a past Emmy winner and frequent nominee from her ER days. I think that's probably a safe bet.